The Saints have been very active when it comes to making trades, and on Tuesday, the Saints made yet another one. This time for an offensive lineman, and I dare say it, Mickey Loomis might have actually won a trade. The Saints get help at a position of need while basically giving up nothing and getting a draft pick in return plus a player. I think the Saints did a good job correlating this trade with the Dallas Cowboys on Tuesday on cut day. But this was not the only trade that Jerry Jones lost this week, but that's not what we're going to be talking about in today's video. And we're here to break down the trade, the Saints acquiring Asim Richards from the Dallas Cowboys. And apparently the Saints tried to trade for a punter. We're going to dive into all that in today's video. I'm Cash. You should take 5 seconds to like the video and subscribe. Help support the channel. We're trying to get to 15,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We're almost at 14,000 right now. Let's keep this thing going. Appreciate the support, especially since school started. Your support is very much appreciated. With all that being said, let's dive into it. Yes, I know I'm a few days behind, but guess what? I don't care. I have school, and sometimes these videos are going to be a few days late, but that is okay. So on Tuesday, the Saints made a trade for another player, this time an offensive lineman from the Dallas Cowboys in Asim Richards. Adam Schefter reported on Tuesday that the Cowboys are sending offensive lineman Asim Richards to the Saints according to sources. Now, when this tweet first went out, this comment right here was exactly what I was thinking. Oh my God. What did Mickey Loomis send him? Did he just send him a 2026 third-round pick? Mickey Loomis sucks at doing trades. He always sends more than what is required and needed, and he always loses on them. I was just like, oh my gosh, this team is rebuilding, and they really made another trade. But luckily, though, the Saints did not send a third-round pick for Asim Richards. I actually think they won the trade. The details of it include the Saints getting Asim Richards, an offensive lineman, a young offensive lineman, I believe 24 years old, and a 2028 7th-round pick. 2028 here, the year 2028 is wild to see, if I'm being honest. But that's only like 2-3 years away in terms of the draft classes. It's coming up, and the Cowboys got a 2028 6th-round pick. So the Saints sent one draft pick to the Cowboys, and the Saints got one draft pick and a player in return. And it's at a position where the Saints desperately needed help on offensive line behind Talise Fuaga and Kelvin Banks. So the Saints basically gave up nothing, got an extra pick in return plus a player. I think they definitely won this trade, given the fact that Asim Richards likely was going to be cut by the Cowboys anyway. Some details on Asim Richards. He was a 5th-round pick for the Dallas Cowboys in the 2023 NFL Draft. Last season, he played 181 snaps and was a better pass protector than a run blocker. We got the PFF grades right here. He had a 69.5 pass blocking grade, which was 52nd among tackles, which isn't bad for a 5th-round pick, non-starting tackle, a guy who's not even a starter. That's solid, I guess, solid depth. And then his run blocking was much worse, though, with a 44.5 grade. But he's still 24 years old and could develop in this area, and I'm sure the Saints are viewing him as a developmental player at the offensive line position. We got some clips up of Asim Richards. Here he is at left tackle. Some of these are good, some of these are bad. Let's just see. I don't know which ones are which. All right, so he's getting pushed back pretty hard on that play, but didn't give up a sack or anything or any pressure. Here's a good play that I know for a fact is a good play versus the Rams. Good rep protecting his QB. This was this past preseason. He's doing a good job protecting QB. It is preseason. Doesn't really matter. He's going against a guy who might not even be on the team. But these are just the clips that we got to deal with right now. Yep, this is big screen. But here he is. Left tackle right over here. Going up against Trayvon Walker. Solid rep. Next play. Here he is, right here. I mean, the ball's coming out quickly, but he's doing his job. He's not getting beat. Here he is again, left tackle. Protects his QB. Good job. Asim Richards, 3 solid reps versus Trayvon Walker, the former #1 overall pick in the, 2022 NFL Draft? Some extra details about Asim Richards, the Saints' newest offensive lineman. John Sigler put out this tweet and information between the preseason and regular season. Asim Richards has allowed only just 1 sack on 423 combined snaps in pass protection. That's pretty impressive. Now, 180 of them probably came in the regular season, Majority of these probably come in the preseason when he's going up against lesser competition, going up against guys who are going to be no longer in the NFL, maybe playing in Canada, maybe putting the fries in the bag relatively soon. So take this for what it's worth. It could be an impressive thing, or who cares? It's a preseason. He's a 5th round pick and a backup. But this is the depth that the Saints needed at offensive tackle behind Kelvin Banks and Talise Fuaga. He's played more than 90% of his 220 NFL snaps at left tackle. He's had 6 career snaps at guard on the left side and 7 at right guard. So he has a little bit of versatility to him, but primarily as a tackle, which is what the Saints were definitely looking for in this trade. They weren't looking for a backup guard. They were looking for a backup tackle because their tackle depth was 0. They didn't have a tackle lined up and on the roster behind Banks and Fuaga. Landon Young was hurt. They cut some of their other tackles. Their other tackles got hurt. They literally did not have an offensive tackle behind their starting 2. So the trade was definitely necessary, and they got a guy who has experience there and will be okay, Landon Young style level of play. And so what? They just needed a guy in there who can make sure the quarterback doesn't die. Some extra details about Richards in terms of just his level of play and where he's lined up. 37 college starts. He had 36 at left tackle, 1 at left guard, and 1 at left guard. During the preseason, like we said, mainly left tackle, but 200 snaps at left guard, including preseason, and 7 at right guard. Pretty versatile, mainly on that left side of the offensive line, but the Saints likely view him as a tackle. He's only given up 1 sack and 16 pressures allowed on those 423 combined pro snap, preseason, and regular season plays. Not too bad, in my opinion, for a 2028 6th round pick, a draft pick 3 years from now, for a guy who's going to provide solid depth to make sure that your QB doesn't die. I like it. With the Saints trading away another draft pick, this is what the Saints' upcoming draft picks look like over the next 3 years: a 1, 2, 3, and a 5 and a 6. The Saints lost that 4th round pick this year, sending that to the Denver Broncos and wide receiver Devon Vele. And then their 7th round pick this year was sent to the Patriots for Devon Gotcha. They definitely won that trade. Gotcha's a monster. And their 2027 7th round pick went to the Denver Broncos in that Devon Vele trade. So that's where those draft picks went. In 2028, they got another 7th round pick from Dallas, but they lost a 6th round pick that year. But day 3 pick, whatever. But this is a team that's rebuilding, and they don't have a whole lot of draft picks. And you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, and I believe they have like 13 draft picks. They should be trying to stock up draft picks and not send a lot away. But in terms of this trade, I'm okay with them sending away a 6th round pick and getting a pick in return plus a player who's going to be fine for the team. Now, I mentioned earlier that making this trade was almost mandatory for the team to do because they did not have a single offensive tackle behind Kelvin Banks and Talise Fuaga. Looking at the roster now, as I'm recording this on Wednesday, they have 3 tackles. They picked up Xavier Truss off of waivers today. That is their 3rd tackle right now. Asim Richards is listed as an O-lineman, but their tackles, they waived a few guys, but injured reserve, Will Clapp is a center. Injured reserve for Nick Sadoveri guard. 2 tackles on injured reserve. They waived a few tackles who are now back on their practice squad. So they needed to make this trade to provide some help at the offensive line position. I'm not mad at it. The Saints made another trade. This one seems to be one that they won. The Cullen Saunders trade to Jacksonville, I feel like that was a pretty even trade with them. Both players were going to get cut. Might as well just do a 1-for-1 swap. The trade with the Broncos, we're going to have to see how Devon Vele fits in the offensive role for the Saints. But if the Saints spent a 4th round pick on a wide receiver and he had 500 yards and 4 touchdowns, I feel like that'd be a win. So we'll have to see how that develops, but I like Devon Vele. The compensation might be a little bit much. We'll have to see. But this trade for Asim Richards is one that I think the Saints definitely won over the Dallas Cowboys. And apparently this is not the only time the Saints are trying to make a trade. Apparently the Saints have been very active in the trade market, not just for offensive linemen, but apparently for punters. Adam Schefter reported that Corliss Waitman on the Pittsburgh Steelers, who won the Steelers punter job, had interest from multiple teams had the Steelers let him go, and that the Saints inquired about trading for the punter. Trading a draft pick for a punter is insane. The Saints have been trying to find a punter for like 5 years in a row now and still haven't found one. Hopefully they can get one. Thomas Morstead just got released. Maybe they can go sign him, but man, the Saints trying to trade for a punter. Thank God Waitman won the job and the Steelers didn't trade him away, because the Saints need to keep as many draft picks as possible, and trading for a punter on this team, man, oh man, I would have been livid. That being said, though, the Saints did win a trade over the Dallas Cowboys. I like the addition of Asim Richards plus a draft pick. I think that's good momentum for the Saints, and I think he's a solid depth piece behind Banks and Fuaga. That's it for this video. Let me know down in the comments what you make of the trade. Did the Saints win it? Is Asim Richards a guy who you guys are going to think is going to be a solid depth piece? Let me know down in the comments below. Thanks for making it to the end of the video. Make sure to like and subscribe. Help support the channel. I'm Cash, and I'll catch you next time. Have a good one.